Hello, everybody. It's 1:37 p.m. Central Time on the 15th of August, 2026. It's Saturday here in the USA. I've got breaking news for you again. Back here in less than 24 hours, a new 6.9 to 7.0 earthquake has struck the northwest tip of Sumatra, Indonesia, directly next to Mount Sinabung, Sinabung. And you may remember that name if you watched my video from yesterday, where we issued a warning for a watch to be watching downstream from the 7.0 range earthquake, 7.7 that struck over here in Indonesia yesterday. And now today, a new 7 has struck in the warned area. We had warned from here to Smith Island, as far north as the south tip of Myanmar, to watch for something like an upper 6 to low 7 to strike. So I said about one magnitude less than the 7.7. And there we go. It has now hit. We should measure the distance between the two areas. Let me get a display capture turned on so that you can see what I see ever so slightly better. And also at this point, I should also open up my YouTube page so that you can see the video from yesterday where we talked about this exact location. So here's the display capture. Let's jump over to YouTube really quick. Here's the video from yesterday, 18 hours ago, not even 24 hours ago. And in the video, we're talking about the 7.7 earthquake. And about 20 minutes in, I'm telling you where to watch downstream. So we're talking about watching downstream. Let's see how far into the video here. It's about 20 minutes. Start talking about downstream from the earthquakes and where to watch over to the west. I talked about the Indo-Australian plate, talked about watching going up here across the bend and around, and we're going to see movement over to the west from here because that's which way the overall flow goes. That's which way the arrows point. The arrows tell us which way we expect the flow to go overall. It's the first 7 in Sumatra in a year or more. It's been a long time since Sumatra has been hit with anything like this, and it follows the day after the huge earthquake. So let's get the coordinates from the USGS. I'm not going to even try to pronounce this, but Pematang Siantar. Pematang Siangar. We're not going to try and pronounce it. It's a very long name, which you can see on the screen, hopefully. Let me make sure that you guys can see this. Let's turn on a desktop display capture. All right, we've got that on screen and put the coordinates in over on Google Earth. So Sinabung, the volcano that used to erupt all the time and was on the list all the time. I have not seen it on the Volcanic Ash Advisory Center in a very, very long time. Here is Sinabung itself. Here is the earthquake epicenter. Here's the town that I can't pronounce. When I say town, it should say a city. That's huge. That's something like probably the size of half of St. Louis where I live here. So, I mean, that's big, but the type of structures that are in the city, look, we got stone stack structures, cinder block structures, a lot of concrete stack. Look at that. You can imagine if a shallow 7 strikes in an area like this, that these stone, look at that wall right there next to the, so these kind of stone stack structures break easily. You see videos with collapsing walls and so forth. Well, that's the kind of thing. Now, that city probably has some fair amount of damage because the earthquake is just a few miles outside of the city itself. So let's see how far we're at. 14 kilometers away from the center of town. 9 miles. Certainly, again, this area here is likely very seriously damaged with the 6.9. And Mount Sinabung is over here to the west by 40 miles, 44 miles away to Mount Sinabung. Now, longtime viewers know we watch 40 miles away for most volcanoes because a magma chamber can shift in a long period of time. This is Toba supervolcano, this giant oval shape here. Toba supervolcano, and all the volcanoes on the edge of it are really part of a volcanic field that's tied to Toba. But here's the info on Sinabung. And normally erupts all the time, or at least it did. It used to show up on the ash advisory list all the time. Now, that's why I brought it up in my update yesterday, talking about we need to watch the volcanoes and we need to watch for the earthquake. And the earthquake to be watching between here at the tip of Sumatra, going up to what's called Smith Island right here, the Andaman Nicobar Islands, but Smith Island, and then we go up to the north from there, up into Bangladesh and Burma, or Myanmar and Burma. Bangladesh is right up here. But that's the spot to watch, and it's been now hit. So that's 2 in 2 days on the forecasting. We had issued the warning for Indonesia to be on watch here. Let's measure from the earthquake epicenter up here at Sumatra all the way back down to the earthquake location from yesterday, the 7.7, to see how many miles it is. I thought it was 2,000 miles, but I don't think so. I think it's probably more like 1,000 miles. Let's see. I mean, it's far. It's a noteworthy distance here. There's 400 miles. I might be right here. Hold on. 1,700 miles away. Right over here. Yeah, 1,700 miles. And in kilometers, that's 2,700 kilometers, basically. 1,700 miles away, a day later, we get a similar-sized earthquake within the magnitude on the edge of the plate up here. So I would think it's going to carry on over to the west. We're not done yet. Of course, this is spreading out. It's going to take all week for this to happen as we watch for this to go around the planet and back. So let's go back and look at the earthquake program now. So new 6.9 here. We need to watch downstream further. This puts China into the mix now. What's the I did this yesterday with you guys. What was the halfway point between the 4.2 up here, which I'll highlight, and the 7? We went around the bend of the plate, and I came to the determination the halfway point's right here. So it's right next to the halfway point has been struck. That means right next to the halfway point should be struck again in the next few days. We'll probably be talking something more like a 5.9, a magnitude less. 5.9 to 6.0 in China. And whenever anything hits in central China right here at the bend of the plate, if it's anywhere in the mountain range right there, it's like a sudden jolt type earthquake, a blast almost. You see these in a sudden shaking just out of nowhere, just boom, it hits. And that's because of the mountainous areas there. If it strikes further to the east over in the plains or in the basins, then we're talking about a long rocking motion type earthquake, as opposed to a sudden break in the rock. That's the Himalayan range, basically, going over to the west. So we watch between here, and the halfway point brings us pretty much right to that bend in the plate. To the west is India, to the east is China. I'd watch there for a new 6. So if you're just now tuning in, you didn't know, a new 7 is struck. Let's go get the info from the USGS and just see how big the earthquake really was. So we can look at the body magnitudes. Just take a look and see, go down the list. We'll throw out the low ends. We know it's not a 5. And we'll throw out the high ends. We know it's not a 7.5. And this is body now. This is a different way of measuring that they don't normally show the public directly. Let's just go down the list more. Again, we're looking to see, is it a huge earthquake? Is it bigger than what the actual magnitude is being reported? Okay, well, it looks like they're actually going a little bit above on this one. This one actually goes up. So normally they're downgrading. Okay, anyway, they're not showing us how they're coming to their no station details contributed. They're doing calculations or something to get to that. And coordinate-wise, we already looked it up. So it's a huge quake. The day after, another huge quake. Same country, 1,700 miles apart, downstream, as expected. And you were warned for this. The people in Indonesia were warned for this yesterday. And yesterday, the Indonesia people were warned, gave a 4-day warning. And that takes us back to the start of the week when Colombia got hit, and I issued the warning in my video on YouTube for a similar-sized earthquake as Colombia, 7.4 to 7.7, to strike the Antipode. We zoomed in on the Antipode. It was here. Now the earthquake hit there. We issued the new warning, and now the earthquake's hit there. I'm not bragging, I have to tell you, because who else is going to get on and tell you I got it right? I've got the most haters in the world, plus all the professionals, plus the media. They've all come stepping in the past several years. Smeared in the media, smeared by professionals, smeared by other YouTubers, smeared by the researchers, everybody, man. And I'm not complaining. I'm telling you, man, they were way wrong on me, and now they really have to own it. There it is. If you want to know how to do your own earthquake forecasting, the method is already published, so you can go test it and do your own forecasting. It's on my channel. It's titled How to Forecast an Earthquake by Dutch Sense. Pretty uniquely titled there, and it's free to watch. It's also in text, so you don't even have to watch the video. Okay, that being said, we're still watching. We're watching now for a spread to go over to the west, over into China, further over to the west, over into the Middle East and Europe. This gets into what hit last night, right after the 7.7 over here in Asia, in the West Pacific. We go across Asia, we get to Europe. 5.2 struck in South Spain. And if we go look this one up, the 5.2 in South Spain, this is right on the plate boundary as well. Let's show it to you where it is. See this over here? Now look where it is. There's a subduction zone there. That subduction zone ties over to the east, over into Italy, and a transform fault and other fault, the dotted line there, goes zigzagging all the way out to the Azores to a T intersection. And this spot here being hit after all this moved. So you remember, Italy had its mid-range 4s. We had our 4s go up around Romania in the past few days. That all happened before the 5 hit over to the west. Let's show that to you really quick if we even have it on the screen here. Let's go back to the start of the week and see if it even shows. USGS deliberately not carrying a lot of those quakes. Oh no, they got a few of them. So see coming in, 4.3, 4.1, going around the outside edge over on our arrow directly at Romania, 4.6, and a 4.2. Now let's add those up. 4.6 plus 4.2 equals 4.72. Add in another 4.3, we're at 4.85. Add another 4.1, and we're at 4.96. So we're at 5.0 worth of energy just with these earthquakes added up. Again, every 4 we add on, we just take it up by another point at the end. So it's 5.0's worth of energy coming in. And what do we get over to the west? 5.0 dropped off on the way out. It's within a hair of a point of each other. If you take all the rest and add them together, look at the spacing on these. It's equidistant spacing from here to 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 here. That's not me doing anything with the hexagons. We can turn the hexagons all the way down. You'll still see the equidistant spacing of earthquakes across Japan, for instance, or the West Pacific. And what's this equidistant spacing thing? Well, this has to do with what's called a standing wave. A standing wave is going through the plate, and it's dropping off earthquakes along the way as it spreads. This is the force that causes the earthquakes. It comes up from down below. So I would also like to drive home the point that yesterday, when we did our update, I talked about this set of deep earthquakes, these two on our letter D here at Japan and our letter D over at Fiji, and how in between them, the halfway point would be hit with a new earthquake. This is yesterday. After this 7.7 hit, talked about this, and said we needed to watch here. Well, I mean, it's right on the edge of it. 1,000 miles west, but still, the middle point just got hit with a new 7 to top it all off. So I would look at the spacing going across Europe. I would look between our 5s, or our 4s and 5s. So 4.9 to 4.1. We watch the halfway point between these two. That's Turkey. Central Turkey, right along the plate boundary. And we watch here, the halfway point. But we have to go up to the north. That's North Italy at Milan and Turin. Could go even further to the north. Might be talking about France or Germany in the next few days with a rare earthquake. The halfway point between these two, if we go up around the bend of the plate, that's Italy, France, Switzerland, Germany at the tip of the arrow, basically. I mean, it's Italy at the tip of the arrow, France to the west, Germany to the northeast, but we're trying to get it down to a few 100-mile stretch. So watch in here just in case. Other people reporting to me that there were small earthquakes that were reported in Wales this week. Now, I do not have the Wales feed or the UK feed. However, look on the left-hand side. Last night, 4 in the morning, finally got in here to have Grok do an update, and we've got more feeds. So I could turn on the EMSC. However, that will populate and make siren sound as the big earthquakes from the past 2 days populate into the earthquake program. So we're not going to do that now, but look who we have. Geophone Potsdam out of Germany, EMSC out of Europe in general, GeoNet out of New Zealand, and the INGV in Italy. We're going to be adding more as these feeds are verified to work on the program. So that helps, but we're not going to use them now. If you're just now tuning in and you missed it, there's the earthquake we were talking about looking for yesterday, struck this morning, and it's 7.0. This now makes 13 different 7s or greater in the past. Well, I mean, it's 6.9, but you know what I mean. So 13 different 7s in this year so far. which is way more than we had last year. It's like double so far. So we are definitely on the increase in the larger earthquakes this year. It's kind of starting to remind me of like maybe 2018 or 2019. We're not to the level of 2011 or 2012 yet, but we're getting there as we creep up in magnitudes. So we're creeping up. Again, locations that have not seen in a long time have now just been hit multiple times. So it's been many months since the East Timor area of Indonesia or Sumatra has been hit at all with anything big, let alone sevens. And we're spreading, when we talk about China, they had a 6 a few months ago, maybe. So it's been a while. We talk about Europe, it's even less. So, I mean, we haven't seen a 5 up in North Italy or in France or Germany in a year or more, greater than 5. Same within Turkey. We haven't seen any big earthquake activity this year at all yet. I mean, there hasn't been any 6.0 level activity in Turkey at all. West Coast United States, strikeout for me for the most part, it looks like at least, down in LA. I mean, technically, the people told me that yesterday was the 7-day expiration on it. I have to go back and count the days. So unless something hits today, it's a full flop for me down in the LA basin. All the areas around it got hit. Check it out. 3.4 striking over in the east part of the valley. 3 striking up and down the valley. But nothing. If we took these all and added them together, it would equal a 4.0. That's still a magnitude under what I'm looking for. I'm looking for 5.0 plus to strike down in LA. And instead, it's a complete flop. I don't know where the energy is. It's like a missing piece of energy that's just gone out, and we don't know where it is. Somewhere on the West Coast, it's like swimming around out in the ocean. So I'll give it till tonight, and if it doesn't hit tonight, I'll cancel the watch or warning for LA completely and have egg on my face for the people in California. But meanwhile, the big earthquakes we're looking for are still hitting. So again, a 5 in Southern California. I mean, that is enough to get your attention, but everybody tells me that if they live there, they're like, don't warn us unless it's a 6, Dutch. 5s are regular all the time. I haven't seen a 5 in LA in months. But we're not here to talk about LA. We're just here to talk about the activity that's already panned out. So the 7.7, the 6.9, check them off the list. 2 huge earthquakes, 2 more 7s in the region, 1,700 miles away today. The next area gets hit. So I'd watch 1,700 again to the west-northwest, and that puts us right here. Equidistant spacing on earthquakes. Now, what's the antipode of this? Before we go any further, let's actually quickly look up the antipode of the 6.9. So, antipode mode, here we go. Wow, look where it takes us. The antipode of the new 6.9 takes us off the coast of the Galapagos Islands to the west and Ecuador to the east. So the exact antipode is here. That is wild. North Peru, South Ecuador. Somebody from Colombia asked me yesterday, do you think Colombia is going to get hit again? Well, Ecuador is right next to Colombia. Might not be Colombia directly. What if it's at the border of Ecuador and Colombia? Anyway, the antipode of the 6.9 could get hit. The antipode of the 7.7 takes us through to the other side over here into Brazil, just south of Venezuela. So the antipode is going to get hit again. I could probably just issue a new forecast right now. These 2 earthquakes have the antipode that brings us over to here. So over here is going to get hit again, as well as going up into China. 2 different things. One, it's going to escape up, out, and away over towards China and over towards Europe. The other, it's going to go through the planet and come back out at the antipode. So we could just go ahead and issue a warning right now. Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, with the center being Colombia again, but the actual antipode is off the coast of Ecuador. We have to warn everybody from Ecuador all the way over to Venezuela for another large earthquake to come through in the next few days. You can't get this kind of movement on one side of the planet unless you get movement on the other. And we already had movement on the other last week, but it's going to happen again. But I would think it's going to be a slightly different location than Colombia. I would think it would be Ecuador. We'll find out. Again, we're going to warn Ecuador, Colombia, and Venezuela for another large earthquake The combined total 7.7, 6.9, Antipode 7.7, 6.9, 7.8. Something maybe slightly bigger than what hit this past week, 6 days ago, which was a 7.4. They downgraded it to a 7.4. Originally, it was 7.7 to 7.8. So we just look for a same-sized earthquake to strike again. But this time in the plate boundary on the edge, which is the exact antipode is here, but we have to watch 30 degrees in each direction according to the professionals. So 30 degrees one way is like here, 30 degrees in the other way is right here. So we have to watch basically from the plate boundary across Galapagos over to the Caribbean. And the center of that then right there. Wow. All right. Well, I'm glad I checked. Okay. So again, the antipodes matter. We need to pay attention to the antipodes, and now you know why. I'll put links down below. There are studies from the professionals about the antipode thing, and then they even studied the earthquakes in the antipode study. So that's very interesting. We're going to have to get that out to the world. I don't see why professionals shouldn't be able to do their own forecasting based on the antipode thing alone. It's already confirmed from the professionals. They studied thousands of earthquakes, and they found, over 3/4 of the time, when there's a big 6.0 or greater earthquake on one side of the planet, that within the week, there's a big similar-sized earthquake on the opposite side of the planet on the antipode. And that's the study from Oregon State University, thousands of earthquakes, and then professionals further did white papers on that study and found more. So I don't see why professionals, like for instance, Indonesia, why wouldn't they issue a warning 4 days ago, 5 days ago, when Colombia got hit? Everybody in the world who's a geophysicist can see that the antipode for Colombia is Indonesia. They should have been warning their people, or at least had their disaster managers prepared. And then yesterday, when I got on and issued the warning for a new 7 downstream, and it mentioned Mount Sinabung, Smith Island, Sumatra, up to Myanmar, Burma, as the spot to watch next, why didn't they scramble and get their people out to warn their people in Sumatra? They're not listening. They're deliberately ignoring the warnings. I mean, come on, Indonesia people. The warning was issued for you 6 days ago when Colombia got hit by me personally on a video on YouTube. Then yesterday, I got back on and issued a second warning for the people in Indonesia at Sumatra, going up to Myanmar, to watch for something like a 7. Now they both have hit, and it's crickets in response. It is literally a ghost town on my channel. It is a ghost town over on my videos, which are all being held by YouTube. Low numbers of views and all that stuff. And then on social media, not a word to me. Meanwhile, yesterday, I'm not bragging, I just have to tell you, I mean, it's getting weird. Everybody ignoring the warnings, denying earthquake forecasting, freaking out on me. I published the method and told everybody how to do it. I'm recording this as a video. We're going to put this on YouTube. Not ranting. I just have to tell everybody. I'm kind of worried about the world and everybody out there, because here's earthquake forecasting. It's been given to you on a silver platter. The method has been published. And the response is to ignore the warnings now? They used to deny that it was possible. Now it's just, well. Meanwhile, if anybody got injured or hurt, this is on the people who tried to stop me over the years. The professors, the mainstream media, the U.S. government, they called for my arrest. This is on them now. So I could give you names if you want them. People who should lose their whole career, professors who tried to stop and interfere with my research along the way, meddled with my research. I can name the professors. They meddled with research that was being done live. They tried to stop it and sabotage it. I caught them. And they're out there. We'll give you their names, but not here in this video. So much love to everyone. I'm going to save this as a video, and we're going to watch it back on YouTube. So really, this is a status update. We're telling you about the earthquake that just hit. It's a huge earthquake. New 7 just struck. The 13th 7 of the year, which is just way more than normal. And the people of Indonesia had a 4-day warning for the 7.7, and you had a 1-day warning for the 7.0, 6.9 you see on the screen now. I'm going to do another forecast. I'm not going to stop. Moral imperative to keep going. Lives depend on it. On me. Of all the damn people in the world, it depends on me. This is the worst. I don't know why God chose me, but I promise, guys, I'm going to deliver it. I'm going to mosh right through all those jocks and put on my combat boots, spike up my mohawk. I'm going to mosh through the whole mess line of jocks. They're all huge football players. We're taking them down. Feet first, guys. Stage dive right into them. That's what we're doing, but in science. Science needed a little bit of shake-up anyways, right? They needed it. They were getting too complacent, bossing everybody around, telling them what they can and can't discover and do. Now it gets served back up to them straight in their face. 6.9 just hit Mount Sinabung, right next to it. 40 miles. Peace out, guys. See you over on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, if you like my content, normally I don't get on and just tell you about an earthquake that I warned about. Normally I'll get on and do a full update and tell you about all the earthquakes on the planet. We'll look them all up. But I think it's important for me to start doing these kind of videos. When big earthquakes hit the areas that I warned, I have to come back and tell you because, well, everybody said it was impossible. I got beat up across the whole world. And when it does hit, I actually get shut down and attacked on social media by God knows who. It's very strange. I thought everybody would be happy with me issuing the warning and when it hits. And instead it was Cricketville. And then it hits again. And then it's really Cricketville, ghost town level, tumbleweeds blowing across the road kind of thing. Just dust blows across. That's what's going on now. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you on YouTube. And please like and subscribe my content. Please like and subscribe. We are on YouTube. Will you please like me? Will you like me? What if you don't? So what? Okay, all right. Like it, please. Much love, guys. It keeps it trending.